G'day painters, g'day painters, g'day painters. It's cold here in Australia right now. Well, today I wanted to make a video to show you a little project I've been working on. It's a diorama. I haven't really done anything like this, so I'm pretty excited to kind of share it. Hopefully this will end up being maybe a competition entry. And I've done a couple of things with this, like some custom laser cutting, which I've never really played with before. So I just wanted to show you a little bit about that process, designing some layouts, how all the miniatures will fit into the diorama, and show you the website that I used. The miniatures that I'm painting are from Wrath of Kings, which a good friend of mine gave me this box when he supported the Kickstarter years ago. Models are super cool. I've always wanted to paint them. It's not really a game that's being played all that much, so while I do have enough stuff here for a small army, I don't really think that I'm going to set out to actually painting them, but because I like the minis so much, I really wanted to do something to give them some justice. So yeah, today I'm going to show you the start of the project. It's really in the early stages, and as it progresses I might share some more painting videos on that project towards the end. But we'll get into it. I'll show you the miniatures and do a bit of a breakdown on what I had in mind. So here are the minis. They're really cool. As you can see, they're pigs. I believe in the storyline of Wrath of Kings, these models or these units were pigs that through scientific experimentation have been turned into basically worker slaves. So they're called union workers, which I just think the concept of them is super cool. This guy is the boss. Well, actually, I believe that this little guy is the boss, and he actually, I can't take it off because it's glued in there, but he actually sits on top of the big guy. I would like to play this game, but there's not really much of a community around where I am. So I really wanted to see some of these painted pigs in my display cabinet though, so this is the direction I decided to go. So yeah, this is the base that I was talking about for the display. It consists of two different sheets of MDF, so there's a 6mm and a 3mm. Basically, the height of these bases is 3mm. So I've just had the laser cut the circle out there so the models can easily slot in. So this is an Adobe Illustrator file, really straightforward. When you use the website, it gives you a ton of instructions on how to lay this stuff out. What size lines and what color and everything to use. But essentially this is the size of one of their sheets of MDF, which they have available in all different sizes. And each red line is a cut. So this is the website, online laser cutting, groovy website, really easy to use. I thought maybe the cost was a little bit higher than sort of what I was expecting for a material like MDF, and it was what I thought was quite minimal cut lines, but the customer service and just the ease of use was so great at this place that I was more than happy to go with it. After you decide what material and kind of engraving you want, you can go here to the file setup, and it gives you a ton of different instructions like how to set up your vector file, just like you can see here. It just matches those descriptions, and then you basically just send the form, send them the Illustrator file or the vector file, and fill out this form, and they'll come back to you with a quote. After I got all the display setup stuff done, I took a pic of one of the primed minis. As you can see here, it's primed based off of the direction of the sun. The sunlight is coming from here, so a lot more bright area inside the face. If you were to turn the miniature around, this would be a lot darker in here. And I've just used basically just the brush tool over the top of this to play around with some different color schemes. You can see in here basically just each different area in the miniature, just using the overlay blending mode, just so you get that detail underneath kind of coming through. It's really just to give you a bit of an idea of what a possible color scheme might look like. I tried to focus on strong complementary colors, And I'm still not 100% resolved on how I'm going to go with this, but I think this is the one that I'm leaning towards. So that's all the setup for the project. So now let's have a bit of a chat about sort of the painting process that I had in mind. The key rule that I keep coming back to with this is my light direction. So I would like to try to tell a story here of these union workers are on strike, and maybe they're protesting or they're marching on like the company headquarters. So the light will always be coming from this direction. You can see there's little markings here. And on my base, I've just indicated like the direction of the primary light source, which in this case would be the sun. So that when I put them on the display base, they'll all be facing the correct direction, and the sun will be hitting it. So when you look at a model like this, for instance, this side of the face is more in light than this side. You can see it's a bit darker. I still think, you know, outside in sunlight, you'll still be able to, it's not complete shadow on the far side. There's a lot of reflected light from the sun, but I have tried to, you know, give that effect that one side is being hit from the sun. If you look closely, you'll notice the hair texture in there. So I've been studying the way that pigs look, and they have a very fine layer of hair. Well, sometimes they're quite coarse, but on the sort of more pinky, flesh-toned pigs, the hair seems to be quite fine. So I've actually tried to paint this into the miniature, which something I've never done before. Now, what I think is going to be really fun about this is that I'm painting the pigs in different colors, and some of them will even have like spots. So as you can see, this is a mostly pink pig, but he has some little black spots here and there. Painted these swords mostly with an airbrush, but also I've come back in to do detailing, edge work and shadows with a regular brush. Primarily trying to keep, again, that point of reference for the sun. So usually for this example, there's more sun on the top of this blade over here and on the top coming down. So here we are, just showing a little bit of painting on this next piggy. This is going to be a black collared one. I'm just starting by blocking out the basic colors based off of the airbrush base, putting a darker color in the darker spots, working up to a lighter color. So you see there where it's a white undercoat is where I'm putting the lightest gray tone. And this next step, just starting to blend those transitions a bit more. So trying to keep a wet paintbrush and wet paint, using a little bit of drying retardant, just working those transitions through. So this shot here, you can see that top area is probably the most hit by the sun, so I'm really working to build that entire sort of flat, broad surface into the highlight. And here we are doing some more detailed work. So I've completed most of the blending, and I'm just starting to work in that texture that I was talking about. So I'm trying to develop that kind of peach fuzz hair that you see on those pigs. This is a better view of it, where you can see it kind of coming along there on that cheek area. Eventually I'll work this over the entire miniature, as you can see here. Just filling in that lip. You can see a lot more of that hair texture there on the top. And there's the completed skin tone. Hopefully that process was somewhat useful to you, just to give you some ideas maybe on how other people are approaching their projects. I'd be interested to know whether you approach your projects in a similar way to this, kind of setting out colour scheme and experimenting with different options maybe before actually starting to paint. Yeah, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're keen to follow this particular project more, as when I get some more paint on these minis, I'll be putting another video up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.